0.9 billion to 20.9 billion. So that is some of the numbers behind these various nations here, and some more notes. We won't get into some of these particular adjustments here. And the next, let's see, schedule release. June will be on the 7th of July. Excuse me, the 30th of July. They will release that data, and the July information will come out on the 28th of August. Won't go into any more of the numbers. We leave that sort of behind. Let me go back to the BBC, and we'll catch up on some of the other news here. Jobs report depressed U.S. Shares. This is from the 5th. This is all from Friday here. We won't get into where the Dow. Investment banks rose on expectation of early rate hikes. That is a situation. The International Monetary Fund has advised the Fed not to raise interest rates this year. Now, the investment banks here, we have J.P. Morgan was the biggest riser at 1.64%, followed by Goldman Sachs at 0.76%. And the currency market, the dollar rose 0.58% against sterling, and 1.14 against the euro. So a little bit on the currency market. We usually don't cover the currency market very much. We'll have some episodes where we get into that, but not at this time. We already talked about a G7, so we won't go back to it. From the German newspaper, OPEC oil output fix boosts prices. Oil volatility, after, this is from BBC, after OPEC maintains output levels. Brent crude, we'll get to Brent crude in a minute. Investors worried but might increase the supply. Oil prices have risen 5% over the last two sessions. OPEC urged member countries to adhere to production ceilings. Qatar said we have witnessed much volatility in global oil industry. OPEC has, of course, there's 12 members here, and they have 80% of the world's oil supplies there. So we are looking to see where things will go. They're going to hold the production at 30 billion barrels per day. And let's get this note from China here. We have China here. This is an old. We won't deal with it. We'll go ahead and do the numbers. China has moved to more solar and other quote-unquote what they call alternative wind power, etc. These are the numbers from Friday, unless otherwise noted. The BBC Global 30 was in the negative at 27.93 there. The FTSE was down 54.64. In Amsterdam, they were down 5.91. Everybody was down here. In Frankfurt, the DAC down 273.11. In Paris, they were also down 66.39. In Brussels, 45.38. In Madrid, they were down also on Friday at 84.10. In Zurich, 128.63 in the negative. In Moscow, they were actually positive range at 15.25. In Johannesburg, 294.82 in the negative there. In Bombay, also in the negative at 68.71 there. In Karachi, minus 74.72. In Lahore, negative 25.10. In Colombo, 1.82. And on Tuesday, out of Tehran, 62.80. Sydney, on Friday, negative 4.80. The Nikkei was at negative 27.29. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong, negative 291.73. In Shanghai, 75.99. In New York, they were at negative 52.12. The Nasdaq at 9.33. The Mercantile Exchange out in the Midwest city of Chicago in the negative 3.001. And in San Pablo, negative 548.53. And in Mexico, 0.83 there. Let's go to the commodities market and check petro. Brent crude was up $1.21 at $63.16. The spot was down $1.14 at $61.74. West Texas crude was up 81 cents at $58.91. T-Boone picking his jump for joy. He remembers $15 a barrel gold. On the Forex, gold futures were down $6.55, resting at $1,176.90. Dubai futures were down $8.50 at $1,177.50. Silver was down 32 cents at $16.15. Very tricky here. Let's see. Corn futures were down $3. Soybean futures were down $8.75. We need to get these commodity prices down. Wheat futures were down $6.75. Soybean oil futures were actually up 25 cents. That was on the CBOT futures there, and the Euronext live futures. Cocoa was up $10, and coffee, robusta coffee futures were down $8. Needed there, and sugar, I'm letting you know why we do this. It's down 80 cents there. So that will do the commodity prices, and will basically do it for us to wrap up. The Greek standoff continues on. Greece did not make the payment to the IMF. Will they negotiate a settlement? Probably so, if the Europeans negotiate in good faith. If they do not, there will not be a settlement for days and perhaps weeks. Will Greece be forced out of the European Union? Very hard to say there. A default will not necessarily force Greece out of the European Union, but there's a lot of turmoil now going on within that community. And of course, there's always been a problem with a number of countries that were admitted in there, including many of those countries from the former Soviet Union, were not prepared financially to be in there. One thing, however, though it works in Greece's favor, very few countries could sustain a number of years at 25, 26 plus unemployment, in other words, being in depression. Their economy is based on the internal economy. Basically, the only thing they offer the world is archaeological dwellings, tourism, very little manufacturing there, anything of that nature. And they produce their own crops there, so that in itself is a little bit different. They've had a problem over many, many years of collecting taxes in Greece, but the European Union has served Greece very well in terms of permitting Greek citizens to travel within the Union and also work within the Union. That's really not mentioned very much. And this would obviously change if Greece did exit the Union. And psychologically, how that impacts the U.S. markets, very hard to say there. A lot of that would depend on, obviously there's quite a bit of money owed out there, and how that would affect the financial conditions, particularly of Germany, which is owed quite a bit of money there, and some of the other countries to a lesser extent of the EU countries. And the market overall, obviously Greece doesn't use much petrol, so that's really not an issue there. But the whole glut on the oil market is one of the things that's happening as we see these figures, demand figures, are basically down. China has less demand, and of course China is trying to move to solar and various other methods of energy production, and that over the long term, not the short term, will also affect this mix called petroleum. So we'll look at that, and of course the fracking in the U.S. wellheads have been consistently shutting down. So the Texas miracle, that one part of it, is not the Texas miracle anymore. We noticed that the former Governor Perry announced for president, and it's very important how these economic issues will affect the presidential campaign and also the current campaign. We were looking at a number of shutdowns in various American states out in the Midwest. Minnesota is facing one, how this will affect that particular state's economy. And also the federal budget, there's something not talked about much, that will come up again in early fall, in September, dealing with that particular item as we go into a presidential year. This will do it for us. So those in business, have a productive next week. For the consumer, keep your eye on the prize. The economy overall is looking up, and don't expect any raises from the Fed until at least the latter part of Q3, perhaps Q4. But that is a very interesting situation. We're looking at May's numbers there. How will July and August numbers? They need to have those in before they start talking about pulling the rates up, because there's a lot of slack out there. Good day.